This is Action Sports Jags. Jags Report Live. Coming to you live from Sneakers. Sponsored by Anajar and Levine, Accident Attorneys.
I mean, it's just embarrassing, honestly, what we put out there, and such a big game for us, and just, I mean, that's the word to describe as embarrassing. Everybody in that locker room feels that way too.
Yeah, they didn't sugarcoat it. They knew what it was, and that's what happens. You got to own it, and now you got to go fix it. That will be the big part of this week as the Jags head to Nashville to take on the hated Tennessee Titans.
Oh, boy. We are live at Sneakers, ready to break it all down on Jags Report Live.
Hey, welcome in, everybody, to Jags Report Live. Brett Martineau, Dan Hicken, Chad Muma, Jags rookie linebacker, will join us in just a few minutes, but we ask him to block his ears right now. We absolutely hammer the Jags for yesterday's loss. I mean, this was tough, Dan. I mean, everything right in front of you. Big, big game. And we didn't see it coming because the Jags been in every game this year.
The hard thing to figure out, really, honestly, Brent, is that it was such a big game. It was the most important game of the year because it was the next game, but with a win, things start to change, right? And so it's hard to sort of figure out what happened to this football team. Why did they lay an egg on the road against the Detroit Lions yesterday? It's really unfathomable in a lot of ways.
It's time for the Game Plan, sponsored by TIAA Bank.
Well, so now the question is, what do you do to fix it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so where are the changes? And we've seen some lineup changes. They've tried 5 different corners now, Dan. I mean, do you mix things up? Do you blitz more? I mean, you only have what you have. You have 5 games to go. There's only even Bill Belichick said it in New England. You can't make major changes in December.
It's hard to change positions. And again, I'm not an expert, but the thought process and a lot of the discussion is maybe you put Trayvon up on the defensive line, you put Devin Lloyd on the edge and see what he can do, get him on the field along with Muma inside and see if that helps and generates more of a pass rush. I don't know.
And I got to believe they might go to the waiver wire and maybe try another corner somewhere. Maybe get a veteran guy in they can trust a little bit more.
That guy Nigel back.
Whatever. Here's Doug Peterson on Monday.
Listen, it takes time. You know, I can remember back when, you know, I was first-time coordinator, and you're trying to do a lot of different things, and then, you know, you realize you back off just a little bit, and then we've done that. We've scaled back a little bit.
So the wall that says it all tells a story. It really was a fun week last week. And by the way, the Titans did their part. They got hammered by the Eagles. In fact, the entire AFC South got hammered on Sunday. I mean, it was ugly for the South. So the Jags, listen, in the locker room in the building, they still feel like, let's go to beat the Titans and see what happens down the stretch. It's not mathematically eliminated, but it certainly changes the course a little bit with the loss to the Lions. Brett Martineau, Dan Hicken, we welcome in for the first time here on the show, Chad Muma, rookie linebacker out of Wyoming by way of Colorado. And, hey, we did all the hard stuff there. Like, the rest is easy, man. Thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate it.
No, I really appreciate you guys, having me on, especially after a game like yesterday. So it's good to be here.
Yeah.
And how hard is it to watch? You guys know what it is. I mean, you don't have to go watch it back, but you got to go watch it back. What's a Monday like after that?
Yeah, no, it's definitely, we said it in the locker room yesterday. It was an embarrassing game, and it's one of those games where you don't want to go back and watch, but you know that you have to watch it to make those corrections so you can be prepared for that next game up, because you still have to go 1-0 that next week and make those corrections. So today it was really kind of player driven, and we got together as position groups, watched the film individually, watched it with our position groups, and made those corrections kind of outside of what the coaches had, really just player driven today.
And as disappointing as the game was, there's got to be a little bit of mixed emotions for you in the respect that, man, you have worked your way onto the football field, and now you're contributing as a member of this defense. So there's got to be a little bit of, excitement for you to be out there on the field and learning and growing with this defense.
No, it definitely is. It's definitely been nice to have that increased role and really be able to get out there and make those plays. But at the same time, when you have the outcome like you did, especially for this last game, it's not what you want. So it's having those corrections, and everyone's making mistakes out there and making communication errors, and just really, nailing that down so we're prepared for the next game.
Mm-hmm. Listen, you come from Wyoming. You're a rookie. You're not playing a lot the first half of the year. You get kind of pushed in there. How hard is it? How hard is it for a guy in your position that's never played in the NFL. At this speed, with all the different things going on, to jump right in late November and not make mistakes.
Right. No, I'll be honest. Early on, I think the preseason was what really helped me because I was able to get those reps a little bit.
Right.
And you kind of realize what type of game speed it is, and it's really quick. First coming out there, when I was first out there, I think I got stiff-armed by Josh Jacobs in the Hall of Fame game, and it comes quick. But I think with the mental reps and throughout the year of kind of getting couple reps here and there, I think that really helped me to be prepared for, this increased role.
All right, one sort of shot by yours truly. I tend to do this at times. Don't take it personally, but you're playing next to Oluwakan. He's a great player, right? And he gets 15, 16, 17 tackles a game. Does he ever, and I know he's good at that. That's what he did last year in Atlanta.
Tackle
but
machine.
I wonder at some point, does Foy ever say, fellas, anyone else want to grab a guy here with the ball? No. Help me out a little bit. I know you did. I know you've had some tackles. I think he had 9 the week before, so, and a sack and a half yesterday. Congrats on that. But just talk about, is the defense built for you two guys to make most of the tackles?
I think, it allows us to each player. We kind of talk about building your own wall. And in that respective, you want to build your own wall and make the plays that come to you and not get outside of that wall. And so I think with our defense, it kind of allows us to play fast. Where we're playing off the offensive line, playing off the defensive line, coming up and filling those holes. And so I think it allows that, and I think Foy just has a great understanding of the game where he's able to see a play before it even happens. He's communicating it to the defense, and he's able to go shoot the gap. I think that's what he does extremely well.
How good is that room, by the way? I mean, you got him who's been around it and is a very intelligent guy and knows where to be, and then you and Devin, you're learning on the fly. How have you guys kept that room together even through some tough times?
Yeah, I think it's just the communication. I think that's been the biggest thing. I think everyone's building off of each other. I think we've done a great job in the film room. Foy especially just teaching the younger guys between me and Devin just about really what the NFL is like and how to really transition from college to the NFL. And it's just that increased communication on the field, off the field, on the sideline, everything.
Well, Dan mentioned it. Chad got in the stat column yesterday in a big-time way.
Power Play of the Week, sponsored by IBEW Local 177, powering Jacksonville since 1912.
They're not saying boo, they're saying Muma. Look at Chad get in there and get a little sack. Had a sack and a half, I think, is what you were credited for. I don't know how he got a sack and a half. I think you should ask for 2 on that. But we'll take 1.5, and we'll start with that. Congratulations on that. It had to be a fun moment for you.
It was really fun. I think, it's the first time kind of getting, I think it was my first sack ever. So I'll take it. And I think, despite the outcome, it's good still getting those kind of stats.
And you can't let Goff juke you. I mean, he's almost a statue out there, for God's sake. No, but congratulations. That was a good moment. And you did hold, you got to bend a little bit, but you can't break. And there was too many breaks yesterday, I think, with the defense ultimately. If they're kicking field goals, it's one thing. They get those touchdowns. Those are killers, huh?
Yeah, and, I think we kind of talked about, or you guys talked about it before, just how each drive they had, they were able to go score. Yeah. And, that's one thing as a defense that you really don't want to have. And I think it's just those moments of, communication errors, MEs, mental errors out on the field, and just letting them get to those short downs, like a 3rd and 1, 2nd and 1, and it's just hard to get those stops when you don't win early in the down.
Well, the biggest win on Sunday was Trevor Lawrence is okay.
He was checked out today. He's good there. No issues. Obviously sore from the hit, but we're still getting some more testing done on his foot and toe area. I think things trending in the right direction, but I won't have a definite until I get the report later today.
All right, so that's the update on a Monday from Doug Peterson. A huge scare survived for Trevor Lawrence. Now, they're still not out of the woods yet. It went from a knee injury, what it looked like, down to a foot and toe, and so they'll keep an eye on it. And I think Wednesday and Thursday will be very interesting to watch here in Jacksonville.
That's when you tip your cap to these guys. I mean, these are tough dudes, man. I'll give them and by the way, Trevor Lawrence might have a little Gumby in him because that leg did not look good when it got bent like that.
It certainly did not. As you take a look at Deck the Chairs right here in Jax Beach. Sneakers each and every Monday. Brent Martineau along with Dan Hickam and Chad Muma, Jaguars rookie linebacker, joining us. I mean, that has to you guys all in that locker room, that was at halftime, must have been wondering a little bit about your franchise quarterback.
Oh, definitely. I think, everyone kind of rallies around Trevor, and he's such a team leader for us. And when you see a guy down like that, I think you saw everyone on the sideline was down on a knee praying for Trevor, and we're just glad that he's okay. And we just know that Trevor, he'd battle through anything for our team.
The only thing that would have been better is if he could somehow lead a comeback charge in the second half. He ran out late, a little bit, had the whole thing. He did have this drive, though.
The drive of the day, driven by your local Ford dealers.
And then this was just, at least this at the time, was so good to see Trevor back on the field.
Well,
again, his development is really an important part of the last 5 games of the season, and he's been cooking as of late.
And they had a 4th down, and he said, you know what, and look right here, this is full speed for Trevor.
That's after the injury.
Yeah, so right then I was like, he's got to be okay. I mean, and so I was glad to see that, and, ultimately led to a touchdown. And one heck of a great – the highlight of the day yesterday was the 2-point conversion,
That
Chad.
was a fun
That was
play.
a great play call. I don't know how that looked in practice. Did it work in practice too?
Yeah, so we ran it against the defense, and I think the defense actually got a stop on that play. So when I saw them shift and run that play, I was glad to see it worked out.
Yeah, they've got some creative stuff now in that playbook. Here it is. In fact, Trevor doing the secondary handoff. All right, but listen, there's a lot of eyes on the defense, and talk about the defense today. The offense struggled too, Dan, and this is where, way too many drops, and it got them out of sync, and it got them off pace because you had to keep pace in a game. The ETN fumble, obviously, on the second play. And third downs, they were very inefficient.
Well, they were. And, that was a big drop by Zay Jones. And it's just weird because, again, the week before, everybody – was so good. Zay Jones, and I know he's battling some injuries and stuff, and that's part of the NFL, though. And, Chad, you know this. If you step out on the field, you probably learned this at a young age. You got to go. It doesn't matter. Nobody cares if you're hurting or, it's the NFL.
No, definitely. You got to be ready to go as soon as your name's called. And, what you put on film is what you put on film. Not everyone knows your underlying, injuries or what you may have. And so that's really true.
Yeah, we don't want to give too much up on the injury front, but it's good to see Chad in sneakers and not in a boot. A little tweak of the ankle, but appear to be okay?
Yeah, tweak of the ankle, just an ankle sprain. Got everything looked at, and everything looks good. So.
All right, so that's good news. When I saw you getting into the plane yesterday, I was like, uh-oh, you might not come on the show. That's really what I was concerned about mostly at the time, but I'm glad to have you here and glad you're healthy. Look at the quarterbacks around the league. Obviously, Trevor, Tua, Lamar Jackson really left early in that game.
Be out
Jimmy
for a
G's
while.
Out for a long time.
Jimmy's out for the year.
Let's bring in Action Sports Jack's Olivia Tasley. She has more on this week's injury report.
This injury report is brought to you by Flagler Health, orthopedic specialists.
For the second time this season, the 49ers have lost their starting quarterback. Jimmy Garoppolo was carted off the field during the Dolphins game on Sunday with a broken foot. I spoke with our doctor over at Flagler Health Plus about a season-ending foot injury Jags fans are all too familiar with.
This area is connected together by a combination of various ligaments. Now the Lisfranc ligament connects right over here from this smaller tarsal bone to the base of the second metatarsal. When that ligament becomes torn, ruptured, injured, it renders this whole area completely unstable. And that's what a Lisfranc injury is. Usually surgery would involve stabilizing the foot with a combination of plates and screws. And that usually takes about 5 to 6 months to actually recover from.
This is the third time since 2018 that Jimmy G will finish a season on injured reserve. He tore his left ACL 5 years ago, had a pair of high right ankle sprains in 2020, and a fractured right thumb and sprained right shoulder last year. Niners now turn to Mr. Irrelevant Brock Purdy to keep this 5-game winning streak going. For the Flagler Health Plus Injury Report, I'm Olivia Tasley, Action Sports Jax.
Well, My Cause, My Cleats, obviously one of the great events the NFL does each and every December. This past weekend in Detroit, it was it. And for Chad Muma, Jaguars rookie linebacker, it's JDRF, Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation, that he represented, and it's a very personal cause. We're going to get into that from Sneakers in Jax Beach right now. Jags Report live each and every Monday. Yeah, John Henderson, he's back. Bring out the
Big
toys
John.
for the toy drive up until December 16th. New toy, drop it off here at Sneakers. All he's missing today is a Santa hat. We had him on last weekend.
Chad, he's about the same size as Derrick Henry, just so you know.
For Sunday. Got to prepare for that. So we were just working on some drills back there.
Yeah, good idea.
He also likes to stiff arm a lot, so be ready.
Talk about Derrick in a bit. Brent Martineau, Dan Hicken, Chad Muma, Jaguars rookie linebacker, and you have type 1 diabetes, and you're in the NFL, and that is not a small feat, by the way. Just a handful of players in the entire NFL with type 1 diabetes. That's going to be pretty cool for you and a representation for a lot of people.
No, it definitely is. You know, I was diagnosed when I was 13 years old, and at the time I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to go do all these things, achieve my goals, and play in the NFL, just because I wasn't sure if people were able to do that. And so as a young kid, I realized that, you know, Jay Cutler at the time, he was the type 1 diabetic in the NFL. And so I learned quickly, and through that, I just understood that, you know, I just really have to manage my diabetes each and every day to get to the point where I'm at today to be an advocate for others.
And talk a little bit, tell folks how you manage it and what you do.
Yeah, so I actually have a tandem T-Slim insulin pump, and it's just one of these things that, you know, I'm able to, you know, have on me or take off really easily. It's one of those things, and so I just go through here and I enter how many carbs I'm eating every single meal, and it automatically will compute how much insulin I need for my diabetes. And so this is just something that, you know, I just partnered up with Team Tandem, and it's just one of those things that I'm so grateful for, that, you know, to partner up with a device that I use 24/7 every single day of my life, and it literally saves my life every single day. And so I think it's awesome for that aspect of it, then also just to be an advocate for other young children with type 1 diabetes.
Is there anything super challenging maybe about a game day, or maybe it's the summer training camp, or whatever it is, like any particular thing that's more challenging that you really, really have to keep a close eye on?
I think it's just the constant managing of it every single day. I mean, going into practice, you have to make sure your number is at a right range. And so for normal people, it's between 70 and 150. And for me going into practice, I got to make sure it's around that 200 mark, because you don't want to go too low for practice, or you don't want to go too high for practice and take you out of the practice and everything, or a game. And so really it's just being on top of it, managing it, wearing your CGM, your Dexcom that compare with my insulin pump, so I can, you know, plug it in real quick, give myself some insulin on game day, and then go out and get on the field right away.
You know, and you make it sound so simple, but it's not. So thank you for embracing that and being willing to talk about it. And the way you handle it is awesome. The way you've partnered with folks here in Jacksonville, I know that you're, you know, you may not know it, but that means a lot to a lot of young people out there.
Yeah, no, and that's one thing I really enjoy doing. You know, my first weekend out here, the JDRF actually reached out to me about coming out to this event, Walking for a Cure, and meeting some younger people with type 1 diabetes, and, you know, really just giving them my story and about how I've had the success and how they can have their success too. And I just love doing events like that.
They can make an impact on a lot of people. Good for you, Chad Muma. All right, we got 90 seconds to go. Sunshine and Rainbows. Christian Kirk, 100-yard game again, really delivering this year. Trevor Lawrence, I still think him being there, and a couple of awesome throws in that game too, which I like. And thank you to the Philadelphia Eagles. At least the Titans didn't win. We hate the Titans around here, Chad Muma. By the way, the AFC South last
bad day.
Holy cow. I mean, it was awful. Look at this. That is a bad showing for the AFC South on Sunday. Brett Martineau, Dan Hicken, Chad Muma, rookie linebacker for the Jags. We've got a minute to go. Derrick Henry, we were just talking about him in the break. Have you guys got your hands full this week, and you know it?
Oh, we definitely do. You know, he's one of the top NFL running backs each and every year, especially this year. And so it's just one of those things that we have to work this week, prepare for him, and just really be able to stop that run and make them one-dimensional.
Well, hey, man, if you survive the show after a 40-14 loss, it's only uphill from here for you, man. They get a lot more fun around. So nice job. We appreciate you coming out. Good luck this Sunday against the Titans. Bring toys out. Hey, Dan, you know, we do Duval around here, right?
Yes.
Well, instead of that, as Big John Henderson, why don't you get the whole crowd to repeat Muma? Because that would be a good way to send the young man off.
1, 2, 3, Muma!
Have a good night, everybody. We'll do it again next Monday.
Thanks for watching the Action Sports Jags Report Live. Coming to you live from Sneakers. Sponsored by Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys.